Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my bestie, Jessica.
So it's that time again. It is our time for our 1 minute book rec. So we go over all the books that we read in the last week with 1 minute synopsises for each book. It's always fun to get Jessica to say that. But before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. We are so close to 750. Like we can taste it, just a few people away. And what happens when we hit 750?
We are giving away 9 minutes. It's a signed copy by Beth Flynn. This is definitely in our top books for like top 3, probably top 1
Probably.
for the year. You definitely want this book. It is really good. So we will be giving this away. And then once we've done that, we have lots more fun stuff planned on our road to 1K giveaway.
We do. We have several things between 750 and 1K, and then 1K is this huge thing. We are so excited to tell you what's going on, but we can't until we get to 750. So hit that subscribe button. You get an extra entry when you follow us on Instagram, so go over there and do that as well. And thanks again to Beth for donating that book for our giveaway. So that was very sweet of her. Okay, so tell me about your reading week.
It was okay. I didn't have any 5-star reads, and I didn't like a lot of the books that I just didn't, they weren't, how do I say this? They just weren't that great. Most of the books I read this week, I guess. Maybe I was just really fussy this week with my reading. I don't know. So I read 6 books, but 2, like there was a duet. So I have 5 to talk about.
Okay. Did I just say 8 when we were counting?
I have no idea what you said.
I think I said 8. I read 8 books. I have 4 5-star reads in those 8 books. I'm hoping they really are 5 stars. Otherwise, I was just in a mood to give everybody 5 stars this week. But I read a few that I really enjoyed. And one of them was a duet. So I actually have 7 books to talk about.
We should have switched some books this week, evened ourselves out.
Hey, last week I had that 1 star. I needed some 5 stars this week. So you said you had how many?
I have 5 to talk about. So
okay,
you'll go
start,
first.
and then I'll finish and that'll be perfect.
Okay. Ready?
All right. No, you always ask me if I'm ready, and I'm just too busy talking. Yes, now I'm ready. Okay, so the first book that I read this week is Binding Rose. This is the first book in the Mafia Wars series. I read book 3 last week, so I wanted to go through and read the whole series. So this one is about our cartel princess Rose. The series is written by a bunch of different authors. I think there's 5 books. And they're all written by different authors, but they're all in the same world. And this is where a bunch of mafia dons got together and they basically sacrificed their daughters in marriage 10 years from that date to other mafias, so they could have peace between the Bratva, the mafia, all that good stuff. So the cartel princess Rose is being sent to marry her husband, and these are all reverse harem. So she's sold to the Irish mafia. When she gets there, her brother tells her that these guys are the most ruthless bastards there are. They're crazy. Just give them an heir and we will figure out how to get you out of it once that happens. But you have to give them an heir. And so she is desperate to get pregnant, but her husband won't sleep with her. So there's a lot of angst in this one. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. There's a lot of animosity between the two families because of the war and casualties of that war that they were all having. So loved it. Did I say who it was by? It's by Ivy Fox. This one is Binding Rose by Ivy Fox. So 5 stars. Loved it. It's Irish. Audio was great. Done.
Okay.
What was your first book?
Okay.
So
my first read of the week was Judge Roe by Kay Webster. I had some Kindle credits to use that were expiring, and I didn't have very many. And I was like, ooh, I'll go buy one of the Taboo treats. So I've been wanting to read Judge Roe for a while. I've seen him pop up in some of the other books. I've read one of his daughter's books. So I was excited to read this. And then it just kind of fell flat for me. So I only gave it 3 stars. So this is about Max Roe, or Judge Roe. And he is a widower. He has 2 daughters that are like kind of transitioning out of the house. So they're like older teenagers. And he runs into Dorian, who is 22, and she's like basically his daughter's age. She is on the run from her ex. He had presided over a case against her ex as well. And the ex is like showing up. And so he steps in to whisk her away. And we have this man who hasn't really, like, I don't know. He, it sets it up as if he hasn't really had relationships since his wife died because he was so in love with her. And then he's been busy raising his daughters and being a judge. And it just goes like this for the Insta love. And Kay Webster usually can write Insta love for me, and I'm not bothered by it. I just didn't see why he was interested in her
Right.
at all.
Yeah. Sometimes when they're short, you just don't have. I mean, normally she does a great job of getting that in there,
Yeah.
but normally, sometimes when they're shorts like that, it's really hard to like develop that relationship or show that attraction. So,
Yeah. And maybe I'm used to Kay Webster just writing a little more forbidden. And
mhm.
so even though there was this big age gap, I just didn't really feel the forbidden part as much. I
Okay.
don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was a 3. It wasn't bad. It just didn't tickle my fancy.
Okay. Didn't tickle your fancy. Okay.
Okay.
So
Next.
my next book I continued on in the Mafia Wars series. This is Gunmetal Lily. It's by Rebecca Royce, and it's number 2 in the Mafia Wars. So this is about Lily, and she's sent to marry into the cartel. And I can't remember if she's the Cosa Nostra or if she is the Sicilian Mafia, but she's from New York, so whatever. So here's the deal. So these are all reverse harem, and there's always 3 guys, 1 girl in these. And typically it's like the brother or the cousin, or like close to the mafia don, because they marry the mafia don or the head of the mafia. And then there's other people brought in for whatever reason. I'm really enjoying these. This one was a 4 because so Lily's husband has had some major trauma in his life, and he cannot get going at all. Never has been. Cannot get it up. Can't do it. So he tells his brothers to make her happy, to be the ones to be with her. She has no clue about this. So they get married. They're on their way. He doesn't even get in the car with her to go from the church to the house. And she gets to the house with the brother and immediately jumps into bed with him. And I'm like, that was a little hard for me. This heroine was very in tune with her sexuality, and she had no problem with it. Where the other ones are virgins, because in the mafia world, you're supposed to be a virgin when you get married, or at least they're close to it. So this one, she was very, very sexual, and I have no problem with that. But when it's mafia, sometimes I do, because they're supposed to be one way. But it was just the way it was. She was like, okay, and like jumps on into these relationships. So I did love it a lot. I mean, I gave it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. It's just that kind of didn't suit. Plus, the person they have doing the audio for the female is the same woman, at least in this book, and then in the 4th book. I would have to look at the other audio. It's the same person that does audio for Ice Planet Barbarians for the female voice. And when I hear her voice, I hear Ice Planet Barbarians and not We Should Be Serious. This is Mafia, and not joking. And she almost reads it like it is an Ice Planet Barbarian book. So, that one kind of fell tiny bit flat, but I still liked it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Now, my next book was my favorite read of the week, and I rated it like 4.5 stars, but maybe it should even be 5 stars. But it is Surviving Rain by Sage Savage. And
Sage
so
Savage.
I read this is
That's a
what?
mouthful. That is a
Oh,
mouthful.
yes.
Shay Savage. You have to really say that. Yes.
Okay, you're wasting my timer.
Oh my gosh, just talk.
I'm trying, but you keep interrupting. Anyway, so I paused my timer. This is the duet that I read. So this is about Sebastian and Rain. Sebastian has this like yacht, and he takes fancy people out on it in the Caribbean. And so Rain is on there as a guest that's paid to be on there. There's other people on there, and Sebastian wakes up in the middle of the night and the boat is like sinking. And so he runs around, can't find anybody else. It looks like everyone else has gotten off the boat. So he gets onto one of the life rafts and he's by himself and he sees this woman floating in the water. So he pulls her out. He gets her, like basically revives her. And this is Rain. And so the two of them are stuck on this raft together for quite some time. And he is an alcoholic. Like he's he's not a nice alcoholic. Like he's crass and he knows this. And I listened to this on audio and I may have like a new favorite narrator because what was his name? Sean Kristen.
Yeah.
He did such a good job because you could feel Sebastian actually like kind of detoxing and coming out of his like alcohol induced stage, and he would like yell at Rain and then he would feel bad and then he would yell at her again and feel
Yeah.
bad, but he really struggled with his emotions and you could really feel that when you were listening to it. It was incredibly good. So this is about them surviving on the raft and then eventually they're found. And so, how is that going to change their relationship? And there's so much more backstory to our characters as well that we find out. It was really, really good. But I loved listening to it. So I highly recommend listening to this one because you definitely get all of those emotions. And he's like not a very nice man. He knows this. And then but he's
Mhm.
trying, but he doesn't know how.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
he believes that most things can just be solved. Like every time that there's a problem, he thinks it can just be solved with an orgasm. But, anyways,
I like
it
the
was
way that man
fantastic.
thinks.
Highly recommend it. So, I think I probably need to go back and change that to a 5 because I really enjoyed it this week.
Yeah, I read the first one. I didn't read the second one. I was going to, and then I just went, I'm happy with the way the first one ended. So
Mm.
I might have given
I
it a high.
liked the second one. It really does kind of help everything complete fully. And it's not too long.
See, here's the deal. When they get off the island, I don't care.
Oh,
That's
see,
the whole point.
I liked the struggles that they went through.
No, I want them struggling on the island. Done. When they get off the island, I'm like, now I got to deal with the real world. Go back to the island.
Yeah, but well, and he wants to. That's part of the
Yeah.
struggle is he doesn't know how to
Survive with that.
behave. I loved it.
Okay.
Okay,
Good. All right. So
next.
the next book that I read is My Duet. This was 5 stars for me. This is an Omegaverse, but this is a very slow burn. It is angsty. It is like that rejection feeling throughout the whole book. I loved it. Obviously, it's reverse harem because it's Omegaverse. So this is Pack Darling by Lola Rock. I've had this on my TBR forever. This is about Lila. She's grown in this world. Like when you're an Omega, you can be sold into like this Omega house school situation where they train you. And her mom basically sold her as a toddler to this group of people. She's a dancer and they put on like shows and the alphas come and they can choose to try and court the Omega, but the Omega eventually gets to say yes or no to this group. Well, she gets put into a situation. She's made her body sick. She's very thin. She's very sick. She's made her body sick her whole life because she doesn't want to go into her first heat. She's like 21 and hasn't had one yet. And she doesn't want to pack. She's been very abused by the catty Omega girls at the school. And so she does not want to do this. She gets pulled into this pack, right? Basically forced to go live with this wyvern pack. Their dads of these guys run their world basically, and this pack is a military pack, and they're like second in command. They're like what everybody wants to be a part of the wyvern pack. When she gets there, she's not told that they already have an Omega. It's a male Omega, but they already have an Omega. Male Omegas cannot have children in this world. So there is a lot of rejection. They don't want her. They don't want her. She's already been abused. But when she gets there, her scent isn't like hasn't really gone into estrus, so she has no scent yet. And then she washes with all the scent nulling things anyway. But when she smells them, she realizes that they're her fated mates, but they don't realize that she's theirs. So good. 5 stars. Laugh your ass off all you want. This was one of the best Omega verses I've ever read. And
I believe I got that text a few times.
Yeah. Wait, no, you only promised not to laugh about aliens if I did the editing of the video. I'm holding you to that promise.
Yep.
Yeah.
I had to get
Right.
it out during Omegaverse.
Okay. The next one will be Omegaverse. Look at that. Okay. Anyhow.
All right. My next book is a disappointing read. So I read Axel by Samantha Whiskey. It's the first in the Carolina Reapers series, and it was a 2-star read for me. I just didn't like it. I didn't connect with any of the characters. I felt like I was starting a book in the middle of the book and had no idea what was going on or why these characters even liked each other. So this is Axel and Langley. Apparently there is a previous series. I found this out after I completed it because I went and read reviews because it's rated pretty high. I'm like, so what did I miss? Well, when I looked at other people who are rating it low, they're like, if you haven't read this other series, most of what happens in this book isn't really going to matter to you. And it's not stated that you need to read the other series. So the other series is the Seattle Grinders. Um, so this is about like Axel, and he decides that he really likes Langley and he wants to marry her. So he convinces her to marry him for 6 months. And this is how he's going to date her and woo her into liking him. I just didn't get it. But apparently, in the Seattle Grinder series, they're background characters that you see quite a bit of their interactions and things with. So I went back and looked, and I actually read the first book in the Seattle Grinder series, and I didn't really care for it either. So I'm thinking I just am not a fan of Samantha Whiskey's hockey series. That must be it. But they have high ratings, so other people might enjoy them. But for me, it wasn't for me.
I tried reading her hockey series and it wasn't for me either.
Okay.
So it doesn't work. Okay.
You're up.
I am up. I was just thinking before you set my timer because I was trying to find the name of the series because the next book I read, I'm going to talk about is part of a series, and I couldn't find the name of the series. So that reminds me, our new journals have where you can write the name of the series in the journal. So if you didn't see the announcement video, Mandy and I actually have reading journals out for you guys this
Yes.
year. They're in Amazon, basically. They're Amazon. Eventually we want to have a store. We don't have it yet. I will link the video below, or Mandy will link the video below where I'm talking about the books so you guys can see the inside. This is a trope list, alphabetical trope list journal, and this is your actual reading journal. But we'll link them below with the links to Amazon and the videos so you can go and check them out. So definitely go check these out. We made these like we want them, so we know you guys will want them. But now I realize it's on the front of the daggone book. But I need more sleep. That's what I need.
All right.
Okay, anyhow.
Tell us about your book now.
Okay, please. Okay, so this is Shaw by BJ Alpha. This is book 1. Yep, book 1 in her Storm Enterprises. This is like her newest series. There's only 2 books out in this series right now. That's an interconnected standalone series. These guys are businessmen. They're self-made billionaires. They run Storm Enterprises. So there's a bunch of best friends that run Storm Enterprises. And Shaw is in Vegas. He just went through a breakup. He has an on again, off again girlfriend. They're off again. And so he's in Vegas. He sees this girl. She's hot. She's banging. They connect. They don't exchange names. He calls her Red. She calls him Blue because of his eyes. He calls her Red because of her dress. And they have a one-night stand. Now, Red is Emmy. Emmy is the daughter of, or the sister to a mafia capo. And she has been promised in marriage to somebody else, and she doesn't want to marry this guy. I believe he's Bratva. She doesn't want to marry this guy, but she's going to have to. She's been promised him for years. She's trained as a mafia princess. And so she decides she wants to give her virginity up to the hot guy in the casino. So they do that. A few months later, these guys bust into Shaw's office and they're like, you're getting married. And he's like, come again? And they're like, you slept with our sister. You knocked her up. You're getting married. And if you touch another woman, we're cutting your dick off. And they're forced into a marriage together. They've spent one night together. There is a lot of angst in this one as well. I gave it 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. I do have to say, though, this is where I have a really hard time. Not with the book. I went to Goodreads after I read it. Because, you and I don't really look at the
No.
reviews until after you read the books. There are some harsh reviews of this book, and everybody's like, okay, so he's jealous, he's possessive, he recognizes that, and he is over her because she was like, she gave him her virginity, she gave him all of her first, and he becomes a complete caveman. Now that's what we like. That's why I read that. I'm like, yeah, I would never like that in everyday life, but in this book, yes. And people were like giving it 1-star reviews because she was weak and he
Wow.
was an alpha asshole. The thing is, she wasn't weak. She was trained to be a mafia princess. That means that when in her world, she expected her husband to cheat on her. She's happy that Shaw doesn't, but she expected her husband to cheat on her. She expected to be treated like crap. And so she'll have a moment of weakness where she'll be like, I feel like crap. And then she's like, nope, I'm going to put the mafia mask back on and be that mafia princess, even though this is a billionaire story, because she was trained to be that way. And if people had actually read the book, they'd realize that. They'd also realize that Shaw knows his shortcomings, and his buddies call him out on it when he does something stupid and he storms out of the house a couple different times for doing something stupid and treating her like crap. And then he goes home and he grovels. Guys do stupid stuff. My husband says stupid stuff all the time. I don't give him a 1-star and kick him out the door. It's a marriage. They don't know each other.
I think that sometimes, like, I was looking up a book that I read a long time ago that I'm using for an upcoming video. And so I was just looking at some of the reviews for it because I was really surprised that it was rated lower because it's like one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things, there was like, somebody was like, oh, people should not read this. This is all about a toxic relationship. Well, it's a bad boy who eventually, like in this forbidden romance situation, straightens out and works through his issues to be with this girl. And then somebody else is like, oh, we need to stop using women as therapy. And I'm just like, but this is the whole trope. The whole trope is
Yes.
bad boy turns corner for girl. Like, this is the whole point of
It
this
is.
book.
It is. It's like people getting mad at BJ Alpha's books because they feature so much breeding in them. That's what she does. If you don't like it, don't read it. She has a trigger warning list for a reason.
Yeah.
Things are listed in the trigger warnings. If you see a trigger warning list and there's something in there you don't like, then don't read the book.
It's
And
fiction. It's
again, don't
fiction.
yuck somebody else's yum. I think giving her 1-star reviews because of that is just, I don't know. Anyhow,
Okay.
that's just my little rant for this week because this book was really good. And I even messaged BJ and I was like, after Brand and after Shaw, because he can talk dirty too, I think we're going to have to talk about child support.
Oh my
Because
gosh. Okay, I'm
there.
done with you. My turn. All
Okay.
right. My next book. You've got to lay off that. It's so weird. My
It's
next
not
book
weird.
was my arc. My very first arc. I'm so excited. It Should Have Been Us by Anna B. Doe. And this is about Miguel and Rebecca. So this is a second chance romance. And sometimes I like these and sometimes I don't. This one had this. So before I get too far, and this is a solid 4-star read, that there's just a few things that kept it from being a 5-star for me. So, anyways, this is about high school sweethearts, and Miguel goes off to college on a football scholarship, and his parents, specifically his dad, is not happy about this. So basically, he knows when he leaves town to go to college, he is done. He's not coming back, and he begs Rebecca to come with him, and she says no, I can't. So they're going to try and make this work, and for whatever reason it doesn't work. And they end up breaking up. So we're fast forwarding 4 years later, and he is coming back for his best friend's wedding, who she's also best friends with. And they're a small town, so they're kind of forced into each other's orbit quite a bit. So it's very good. I enjoyed most of the book. There's just a few times where it's a little repetitive, but that stuff I can skim by a little bit. The thing that really kind of irked me is how everybody treated him. Like, he went off to go better his life, and then he comes back and everybody's like, oh, you're finally good enough to come back and say hi and stuff like that. And they were kind of weird about that. are and it takes a while for us to get to the point. And we grew up in a small town, so I don't think it's because I don't understand small towns. But anyways, it takes a while for us to kind of find out what happened to them and everything, but I was definitely hooked and reading it the whole time. I don't want to give too much away because there's lots of stuff happening in this book, but it was good, and I'm looking forward to reading the next book that comes out in this series.
Was
So
this her
highly
first?
recommend it. Go check it out.
Was this the author's first book?
No.
Okay, just curious.
No.
Okay.
She's established. She has quite a few books out there. I actually have another book of hers on my Kindle that I didn't even realize. I'm like, oh.
Yay. All right. Awesome. I know. Grace McGinty has her newest book coming out the end of the month, and I'm hoping to get an arc for that. I know a few videos ago I said it was like Rockstar Alien. It's just Rockstar. I was wondering how she'd pull off the alien part. That was people's guesses. It's just Rockstar. But I've already pre-ordered it, but I'm like, where's the arcs? Where's the arcs? So we'll see. I'm hoping. Fingers crossed. So excited. What? Dude!
It's your turn.
Okay. No, you can go back. I'll talk about my book. Okay, so I warned you guys that while I'm wrapping Christmas presents, I will be reading Ice Planet Barbarians, and that is exactly what I did. So sorry, not sorry. But this is Barbarians Heart. I have no idea what number this is. It's a good number into the books. It's probably like 10 or something. So this is about Stacy and Pashov. So there has been an earthquake on our ice planet, and their cave has fallen in, and Pashov got hit in the head when that happened. It happens in a novella or a book just before this when we see the very end of it. And so Pashov has forgotten his wife and his baby. So Stacy has a baby boy, little Pashov, no, whatever they call him. Anyhow, she's got a baby, Pacey, that's what they call him. And she resonated like immediately to Pashov when she got to the ice planet. So he's all she's known. She had a ready-made, like she had a family. He has his family there. She had a ready-made family when she got to the planet. And this, him not remembering her and her baby is extremely difficult on her. And it's hard on him because he remembers everybody else. He remembers everything else, but he doesn't remember his wife and his baby, or his mate and his baby. And in the middle of all of this, because their caved in, the whole group, where are you going?
I'm fixing something. Just keep talking.
The whole group is traveling across their little world to find new housing. And I know I've seen reviews. What the heck are you doing? I know I've seen reviews.
Something.
Okay, where people have said Stacy was whiny and whatever. She lost her husband. Her husband doesn't remember her. He is her whole world because, again, they crashed on an alien planet. Like, I would be whiny too. It's all good. It was a 5-star when I read it the first time around. I reread it at Christmas time every year. I love it. So there you go. Keep reading Ice Planets.
It sounds fascinating and not remotely funny at all.
Okay, can you go back to laughing because I don't like this. I don't like this. This scares me.
Okay. My next book was disappointing.
Would have read Ice Planets, it wouldn't have been.
Well, I didn't think this would be. So I back in May decided I really need to keep track of the series that I read, because often I'll be in a series and I'll be like, ooh, but I really want to read this book, and then I'll go back to the series, and then months later.
Hey, look. There's a spot for your series right there.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I had to. Okay.
So I went back to finish.
Today?
What?
When do your journals get here?
Well, one supposedly is already here, and the other one's supposed to be here today.
Because I reordered on Thursday, and mine will be here today. That's how fast mine come.
I know, you're a lot closer. I live out in the middle of nowhere. Thank you for pointing that out again.
You're welcome. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. I mean, I did, but I didn't. So
I know. I'm gonna get a blowhorn, and every time you interrupt me.
You love me. Start talking.
I will keep trying. So again, I went back to the Pucked series by Helena Hunting. I only had 2 books left in it, and so I'm on Pucked Under. Although there's a whole bunch of like weird little ones that you can get, but
Mhm.
most of them they're like sign up for this or do this, and so some of them aren't really easily
Well,
found.
and they have
So
some novellas too that you can get that are like published novellas, and they're like inked and pucked. Like I think she has a
there's
tattoo.
another series, yeah.
I had them. I hadn't read them, and then I sold my whole stack of pucked books because I got to the wedding one, and I was like, I've lost interest. Is that what happened to you? Did you read the wedding one?
Are you done hijacking my time yet?
You haven't started your timer. I'm trying to talk to you.
I am trying.
But you didn't
So,
answer my question. Did you read the wedding one?
yes, I just have Pucked Under and then the very last one to read.
The very last one's supposed to be very emotional. Just FYI. I could be wrong. Supposedly.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So I read Pucked Under, and this is it's from, oops, sorry. I thought
Yeah.
like, oh, you were moving. That's why I thought it switched. Like, what happened? Okay, so this is Pucked Under, Helena Hunting. This is Randy and Lily. We've already had their book, but this is from their viewpoint. All the group is going off for like a weekend before training camp starts. But honestly, like I really enjoyed this series. But honestly, this whole book, and maybe if I would have just continued right on, it wouldn't have felt like this. But this whole book just felt like Randy and Lily and their different ways of doing it. Like that's what it was. And then there's a little tiny conflict with something, and then the book was over. So I gave it 3 stars. I just didn't really get into it. But again, maybe if I would have just continued with it, it would have just been like, oh my gosh, so exciting. And I read this review that said, once again, Violet is as annoying as hell. And I love Violet, like in her book, but I kind of find now that she is starting to get a little bit annoying. I feel like what made her cute and enduring was like these random things spewed out of herself and she would embarrass herself. But here we are, way into this relationship, and she's still kind of, it's almost gotten to an immaturity point now for me. Or maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'm just, I don't know. I really liked her at the beginning, but I'm kind of starting to see where people are kind of done with her. So I am going to still finish the series and read that last one and move on.
Okay.
I like the spinoffs though. I've finished most of those. So
Mm-hmm.
anyway,
Okay. All right. I forgot to say that with Shaw, that would work for age gap romance for the readathon that we're doing in December. Would any of your
oh
books work?
yeah.
I know we were going to tell everybody, and I totally forgot. I know Shaw will work for an age gap. She's young, he's older.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have my readathon marked right here. Surviving Rain, great for your stranded.
Yes.
Um Pucked Under, not that great to listen read, but it would work for your hockey romance.
Yep.
And I thought I had one more on here. Oh yes. Well I no, dang it, I can't count it because I read the Lovely
Yeah.
Return on November 30th, so it doesn't
Yeah.
count for this. So I still
Mm-hmm.
need to read H Gap. So I need to read Shaw, that's what you're telling me?
Shaw, you could. There is an age gap in there. I mean, a lot of my stuff have age gap. Binding
Oh,
Rose and Shotgun or Gunmetal Lily are Mafia, obviously.
uh
Shaw is a Mafia as well because her family's Mafia, even though he's a businessman.
yeah. It Should Have Been Us is your small town.
There you go.
Okay. So
Okay.
how well are you doing towards your readathon?
I haven't even looked. I was gonna do that today because I just got home from California and I haven't looked. I'm sure I've got several.
I
How are
have
you guys out there doing with your readathon?
oh, and you already did your Alien.
I did my Alien. Mm-hmm. And my next one counts for holiday, even though we are going to read the Christmas blanket together
Yes.
for our live show. This next one counts as holiday. So let me tell you about my holiday one.
All right. And don't forget, you only have to get 3 books and you build your
Mm-hmm.
own bingo board to get a
Yep.
bingo. I'm going to try to get a blackout, do
Me
all
too.
mine, but we're the hosts. But please, just 3 books, get that
Yeah.
bingo. Follow the
Yeah. Well,
prompts on Instagram. It's also on our community tab.
and we'll try to post later this week on Instagram and on our community tab where we're at with our board so you guys can see what we're
Yes.
reading to hit those goals. Because we did do a TBR video, but for the readathon, but I haven't stuck with it at all. So
I wrote out like books and everything to try, and I'm still sucking.
so bad at it. I'm so bad at the TBR, but we will still continue to give you guys TBRs. There are going to be, you know, soft goals. So, okay, so let me talk about my next one. It is holiday. Really, though, you have to have read the Secrets and Lies series by BJ Alpha. This book just came out this week. It is a holiday novella, and it is called O'Connell's Forever. So that is the last name of the 5 brothers in the Secrets and Lies series. You guys know I've been trying to get through all of BJ Alpha's backlist, and so this popped up this week, and I was like, perfect. I love this. I gave it 5 stars. It's a novella, and I never give novellas 5 stars. I loved it so much. So you have all of the O'Connells. They all live on a big compound at this point because it's several years into the future. So they all live on the same, like all within the same area. They decide to go to Khan's house for Christmas. On Christmas Eve, they're all going to go stay the night at Khan's house, and they're going to take all of their kids because these guys are breeders. So they got some kids. It was awesome. Oscar is way too serious about his one child because we all know that Oscar's a little different. You've got Finn, who doesn't give a crap. He's got 4 kids total, and the twins are hellions. His son is a hellion just like him. He chokes on his toothpick. Finally, he inhales the damn toothpick, and he has to like pick it out. Is the best part of the book. I loved it. That he's just one of those parents where he's like, yeah, Ma's here. She's gonna watch my kids for me. Where's my wife? Let me go knock her up again. There's all of them. If they're not pregnant, they're trying to get pregnant at this point. It was awesome. 5 stars. Loved it. Loved being back in that world. Loved seeing the brothers together, and how they parent is hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. So
Okay.
So if you've read BJ's books, or you're in the middle of BJ's books, tack this on to read by the end of the month. But you have to get through the series before you can read this one.
Okay. You have more, I take it?
Oh, are you done?
I'm done.
I don't really pay attention. Yes, I do have more. Okay, so the next book I read is Bexley's Biker by Misty Walker. I actually have the book. I just need to grab it. This is the 3rd book in her Royal Bastards MC. I read the first 2. I enjoyed it. I intend to keep going. I love Misty Walker's MCs. There is a total glare on this book, so I can't do it. Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is about Bexley and Con, or his name is Wesley. So Bexley is a lawyer for the MC, and Con has gotten himself in some trouble, and so she is his lawyer. These 2 hate each other. They're at each other's throats constantly. It is definitely enemies to lovers, which I think is another. No, is enemies to lovers one of our things? No, Grumpy Sunshine tropes. Okay, so it's definitely enemies to lovers. They give each other crap all the time. But here's the deal. He is an ex junkie, and he is trying to he got himself clean, but he does have an addictive personality, and he wants her. He is addicted to her. She is on the run from an abusive husband. So she's got to keep him out of prison, but she's also got to keep the abusive husband away from her and stay in hiding when he finds her. So good. 4.5 stars. Loved it. Will continue on. It was awesome. And then my last book was seriously one of the shortest books I've ever read. Again, when I read the holiday novella by BJ Alpha, I was like, I'm missing some things. And I knew that there were a few other novellas throughout the books, and I knew that the answers I was looking for had come in the very last one. So this came out last month. This is called Organized Chaos. It's about Oscar and his wife, Paige. They go babysit for Bren and his wife, and complete chaos ensues. Oscar and Paige do not have kids yet. She's pregnant with their first one. And Oscar insists that this kid's going to be an absolute genius, just like him. And it's hilarious. But the way Bren and his wife, their kids are chaotic, just absolutely chaotic. So this I gave 4 stars. Loved it. Loved seeing it. But it was only 38 pages. It was very, very short. But it was good. So that was my last book. It was a cute little quick one to get in before the end of the week.
Okay.
And that was it.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Well.
So that's all we have for you guys today.
Yes. Leave us some comments. Jessica ranted. What do you think about those things?
I have such a hard time with that. Quit with giving 1-star reviews because you don't like the. I mean, if the writing was bad, sure. If the story was bad, sure. But did you read the trigger warnings? You should know. We're all adults here.
Yes. So tell us your comments about how you feel about those. If you read a book that you don't like because of a trigger or something like that, do you rate it lower? Like, where do you go? Because sometimes I struggle with that. Like, if I really don't like a book, but then I have to think, like, for example, when I had to read Love Triangle, I hated the book. The writing was great, the characters were fine. So it wasn't so much that I struggled. Like, I don't like this book, but it's not the book's fault. Like,
No.
there was nothing other than not writing Love Triangle that Pam Godwin could have done to change that. So leave us some comments and let us know your thoughts on that. Make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us, and on Wednesdays through the rest of 2023 for Romance School 101.
All right, don't forget to hit that subscribe button because, like we said, we're so close to hitting that 750. And don't forget to check out the video that Mandy will link below with our new journals because they're so cool. We want them in all of your guys' hands for the year. So, yay!
Yeah. Great stocking stuffers or presents or presents for yourself.
Or just start the new year off. And to everybody who has ordered, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. We're just really excited to see how you guys. We hope you love them. We hope you like them. So, you know, I'm already picking them apart myself, but that's okay because it's mine. I designed them. I can. So, anyhow, we love them. So, once again, guys, thank you so much for your support. Thanks for watching, and we will see you guys in the next video.